Oh, what's up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another Grizz 901 live here with your post-game show. I am Daniel Greer coming in for you on a night that I did not expect to be here, but I'm here nonetheless, so you're welcome. But tonight the Grizzlies win 120-118, and what we did not know would happen tonight, and that is a little bit of Cam Spencer coming in, a little bit of the TA. We love each and every little bit of that Cam brought tonight. But tonight, with Nate here, he's back. I'm back. I will not be here Wednesday night for sure, but I am here, and we want to make sure we get down to full game breakdown. There is no Grizz Trivia tonight, just because I have not had a chance to play anything. I am on a work trip, as you can see. This is not me. This is not my normal sound. So just kind of hang out with us tonight, as you always do. But we're going to get through all of that and do a little look ahead as we do as normal to the next game. But that's all we have. Let's go ahead and get to the show. Well, I didn't push the button. Hey, there he is. What up, Nate?
Oh, hello. Hello. Good to be back. Hello.
Did you like my intro tonight? I came up with it the last 10 seconds of the show.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm proud of you for thinking outside the box, buddy.
I do what I can. But yes, King Meeks, it's me. It was always me. I'm here. But we want to get into the game. So overall, the Grizzlies and how they played, I think that we can look back at that and kind of see a 120-118 win. There's a lot of bad that you can discuss along the way, but overall, the game officiated, in my opinion, it was complete trash. I thought that there was so many just kind of missed stuff. It was stupid at some points. They got a little too tight with the whistle. They got a little loose with the whistle. But that's really all it comes down to. It was a game that the Grizzlies win. And a lot of times when you have a win, you can look past a lot of the stupid calls that were either called or not called. But getting to the game overall, off the top rope, Nate, what you got?
Well, first off, to the officiating today ends in Y. Therefore, the officiating was subpar.
Right.
Second off, there was a lot bad tonight. But most of that comes from the city of Phoenix. What does it say about a team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker that they come out against a team where your only bigs available are Jay Huff and Marvin Bagley, who you've had for 3 weeks. And just put up a dutter. I mean, it's and you built a lead early too, and it just evaporated in 2 seconds. I mean, brutal for the Suns. KD just needs to come to Memphis. Obviously, him and Ja are boys because Ja plays out of his mind every time he's playing against Kevin Durant. And those two go back and forth. But it'd be fun having him in Memphis next year. But, dude, good minutes from everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody had good minutes tonight. Even Jalen Wells, who, basically got concussed for a couple of minutes off what was clearly a legal screen, got some good minutes, despite the fact he still can't hit from 3 right now. Jay Huff, good minutes, man. Desmond Bane, only 10 points. Didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Good minutes tonight. Lamar Stevens, the best 3-point shooter in the world tonight. And then my psycho boy, Cam Spencer.
Let's talk about Cam.
He's a psychopath, and I love it. And he's I didn't watch him at all in college. To be clear, I never watched college basketball outside of March Madness. I didn't notice Cam Spencer when I was watching it. Dude, preseason, summer league, when he gets 2 minutes in a given game, he's a complete and utter psycho. And I love it.
Yeah, well, if you look at Cam in college, and yes, King Meeks, I do have a real job. They even paid for this hotel room. Maybe it's because I work for them. But overall, it is a guy that was a lot of defense. And if you look at Stephon Castle, he was more of the defender as well. Cam and Castle were their defenders, right? They were the guys that kind of just was around the perimeter, and they would take the shots when they was open, but it wasn't. They were never a guy that they were looked at as being the facilitator or the guy that was like, hey, I'm going to be the guy that's going to put this team on my back. They were never that guy, and they're never going to be that guy. And that's actually why they do so well in the NBA, is because they're able to find a role and find their niche within the offense and hit that. So I do love how Cam's playing just overall, but I want to go to Cam and ask the question: is a guy like Cam what this team needs? Is a little bit of the grittiness, and I know that everybody's high on the TA documentary as of late, but is he the guy that actually could help out the most on a team that seems like, and not in a bad way, but very much directly in a bad way, a team of softies?
That's what you need Lamar Stevens for. I do love the psychopath, but I also they need some grown men. You just need dudes who have been there before that are crazy. It's why I love John Collins and Bobby Portis at the trade deadline. When there was a rumor about Bobby Portis coming to Memphis, I was like, he's skill-wise not quote-unquote perfect, but give me crazy at Bobby Portis any day of the week because you need some psychopaths in there. So no Cam's it can negate the fact that you're young, and he's obviously an older rookie as that goes these days, especially. But I love it. Would love to see it continue to play out, but it's the same thing. He's 22, something like that.
Yeah.
So
not that old.
I mean, I love it. I'm gonna ride the wave, but I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit on. That's what this team needs. This team needs vets in the summer, and they really need Ja Morant playing like Ja Morant. And in that spirit, tonight we're having some Casamigos as the drink.
Reposado?
That was for you. Just a drop of water, and we're having a good time.
That's
mine.
Don't play like that. Reposado?
Nope. This is the Anejo.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I'm fancy.
I literally have not seen the dark Casamigos, so shout out to you. But as Austin saying here is, just play with an edge. And that's kind of what I want to get back to is that question of this team. The best version of them is playing with an edge. I think everybody would agree with that. So how do you get this team to play with an edge? Overall, is it internally? Is it a coach just pushing the right buttons? Is it leaders on the actual team saying, hey, we have to do this? Is it bench guys that maybe oftentimes they come in and create that little bit of craziness, that little bit of an edge? How do you get that within this team that hasn't had it pretty much all year?
Hold on. I got one thing for you.
Just don't play music and get us copyright, please. Oh, okay.
It goes where he goes.
Well, the
For
problem is
listening to the podcast day after. First off, appreciate you. Second off, the team goes as Ja goes.
Okay.
Team goes as Ja goes. And that's 3. If we're only talking about second halves and tonight the entire game, that's 3 games in a row. We've gotten Ja.
Ja's looked better and he's looked motivated. I don't know. And I know after the last post game, a lot of people was talking about his comments afterwards, and it was he got a shot in the arm, which doesn't hurt, but he looked giddy. He looked happy. And so I don't know if it was the meds talking.
Well, and it gave the team a shot in the arm.
Hey,
go and play like they need to play. It's just, they've kind of quit messing around. Ja didn't miss a shot inside the arc tonight.
Oh, really?
9 for 9 inside the arc. 1 for 5 from 3.
Wow.
8 for 8 inside the arc. I'm sorry. 1 for 5 from 3.
Somebody earlier said efficient Ja. And it was pinch me. Shout out to you, man. That's it's crazy that he's playing more efficient, but he's also playing with more joy, and he's getting to different shots. But that midi game, that push shot, a little bit of the floater involved within that is a little bit all, a good combination. But you know what I saw tonight is I saw a gritty effort, and not because it was Cam Spencer. It wasn't because of other guys in general, but it just seemed like they had nothing to lose. Like they had guys that, like, Bain did not play great tonight. He played fine, but he didn't play great. Like, he wasn't a scoring guy. The second leading scorer was Cam Spencer on the game with 16 points. And it was like an all-around effort. It reminded me of literally 2 years ago when the Grizzlies had some injuries, and it was, it was Ja was out. We had, shout out to Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones was leading the team, and they were winning some games in spite of not having Ja or whatever year that was. Like, that's what tonight reminded me of. And so I'm curious if maybe sometimes they just find it, right? But also, is it because sometimes game, whatever this is, 60 something, or you just need a little bit of a shot in the arm, no pun intended, but you need something. And maybe the valley that they went through when we were all like jumping off the ledge, Astronomo jumped 10 games earlier, but we all jumped like 5 games ago. But like overall, like it was a game where everybody was jumping off like, oh my God, it's not like this whole season's gone to S. Maybe that's the valley that came out of that, and this is the good side of it.
Well, and there's always been a question this year, and still is a question of what can you do when you go play against the best of the best in the league right now. Right. Because it's like, do you have the horses to get the job done? But I wasn't like, hey, this season's completely by the wayside with the expectations of what we sort of think about this team overall. But it's one of those where it's like, it's just those games back to back to back. You're towards the end of the season. It feels like you need to be rounding into form. And you're like, oh, bro. it's go. And then you go play against the Thunder and get just wrecked.
Smacked.
Right? And you're like, oh, this is just going the wrong way. But we got the cure-all in the Dallas Mavericks. So I think may have beat the Spurs tonight. They were about to put up like 130 last I checked. That is extremely helpful. You go and you play against the Pelicans, which I actually got to watch most of that game in the second half at least. That started going the right way. But it's the same thing the entire time. Like, those games made me feel better about Memphis because of the same thing we've been talking about for a month plus now, which is, when is Ja Morant going to look like Ja Morant again? Like, I'm going to take over this game, and I'm going to control this game, and I'm going to beat you, Ja Morant. And we're seeing it. And tonight is especially impressive because he's out there playing with Lamar Stevens and Cam Spencer and Jay Huff, and that's not a knock on those guys. It's just you're playing with guys you haven't played with all season, and you're still controlling the game like that and orchestrating the game like that. Phoenix is not a defensive stalwart. No one's going to sit there and think defense is Phoenix's calling card. But to do that with the roster you had tonight was awesome. Some nice Bagley rim runs.
Yep. No, Bagley did play well tonight. And I don't know what you do. It is, and let's talk. Let's go. Listen. Let's throw it on the table. I know a lot of people have been talking about, like in general, that the Grizzlies had played, or Ja in general plays better without Zach Edey. Okay, I don't want to completely throw Zach Edey under the bus, and I don't want to have the idiots coming after me. But maybe it's a spacing, and maybe it's Bagley can space it out and move and pop out a little bit to the outside. Maybe it's the Phoenix Suns that aren't as good, and Nick Richards is a guy that cannot pop out to the 3-point. He has to stay underneath, and that's kind of what people do to us, right? If it's drop coverage, you stay underneath. But is Bagley, just in general, is Bagley a guy that could maybe crack the rotation with a healthy roster and maybe make, I guess, the ceiling of Ja Morant be the ceiling that we all thought it was, and maybe this would be a chance to slide Edey to the bench and maybe less minutes. I don't know, but anything in general that you see that could have potential where Bagley and the effort that he plays with he could actually play in this rotation, maybe ahead of Edie or just in general within the rotation?
Too early to say. And
Okay.
Phoenix is not. I mean, Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee are not exactly home runs at the 5 position. So, but he's been. I mean, he fits theoretically better than the current version of Edie. Now, Edie, I think, continues to just learn at freaking light speed. Like, Edie has developed so quickly and learned so quickly, and it continues to be impressive. But you get Bagley next to Jaren. I mean, that's a true 5-out lineup that you have to respect. And Bagley's just a little bit more of a, quote unquote athlete than Edie right now. He can play above the rim. He's a little bit more quick twitch, more so than anything, where he's able to play above the rim and run the rim a little bit and get that second bounce a little bit. The tip in tonight really sticks out to me, where he just ran in a lot faster than Edie could ever get there and tipped it, missed it, tipped it again on the second bounce.
Yeah.
And so exactly what Marco's saying here. He's just more mobile than Edie right now, which fits with who you've got. But same thing. You've got such a short amount of time with him. I don't know. I think he fits really well next to Jaren when he comes back theoretically, but
Edie,
plays out.
Bagley does.
Bagley, but
okay.
It's hard to send Edie to the bench after what he's done this year, and he continues to develop. When it comes to playoff time, it feels like you're going to get a decent chunk of someone. Yeah. But Bagley is still at the end of the line. You still got Santi and BC who are putting in front of him. So that sort of negates the whole conversation, I think.
Right. Yeah. So I think with this, the answer to this question is very simple. Just play John Conchar.
I saw you talking to probably Rip Jitty tonight about.
I love Rip Jitty.
He made KD airball once, and that was his successful 6 minutes that he got tonight.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyways, moving along.
Yeah. No. So I really think you can answer this by saying that, like, in the playoffs, I think you can look at both Huff and Bagley as potential change of pace type bigs if you needed to, depending on who the matchup is, but also with Edie. I think Edie is consistent enough in how he plays that I think when it does go small and you feel like Edie cannot dominate in that matchup, or they're picking on him too much, I think you can go to either Bagley or Huff. At this point, I love Huff's game, but he feels to me more like a regular season guy, or you go to Huff if you feel like you need a punch in the arm. Like, if you need like some kind of jolt of energy, I think you can go to a J Huff, because he's going to make some crazy plays. He's not going to be great on the defensive end. He's going to be fine. He's going to make some plays that are good, some plays that are just boneheaded bad, but he's going to knock down some threes that might give you a little bit of energy. Bagley overall, I think he might be the more consistent one. He's not going to be the guy that you look to score, but we said this in the very beginning. Like, the bigs on this team should not be looked at to score, except for a lob threat, which he is more than Edie Bagley is. And so I'm curious if this isn't matchup based, and I think that Bagley could have a shot at this rotation in the playoffs. The problem is you can't play a lot of bigs, and I think that D'Angelo Quinn said you can rotate 3 centers. You can, but in the playoffs, you only want to really go 8 deep, and maybe you just kind of move one out depending on the matchup in game 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? And so you might move one away.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I'm just telling everyone here, Jenkins is going with Aldama or BC. Like, that is who he's going with if he's not going with Edie. Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world where he puts in Bagley in over those two guys if he's not got Edie on the floor. That's the problem. Yeah. It's because those are his guys who he trusts, and that's what coaches are going to do. They're going to go to the person that they trust. Now, Bagley, he continues to get minutes because those guys are out and keeps playing as well as he did tonight. That could change that, but I got news for everybody. TJ's not known for his willingness to adjust and go with something new on the fly. So
yeah, no doubt. Well, tonight the Grizzlies, they played well, as we talked about it for sure. But it also they played bad at times. So we can get you all of that for sure. But
bad.
yeah. But let's go ahead and look a little bit to the NBA as a whole. So tonight at the standings in general, it looks like the Warriors are up by 19.5, which I know a lot of people are looking at these games that are coming up and how the Grizzlies might fall. But the Nuggets did take out the Thunder, so they played a back-to-back at home at OKC, and they split. And so at that point, that leaves you still tied with Denver, I would assume. No, you're still a game back from Denver, but you're now tied with the Lakers. The Lakers lost to the Nets tonight without LeBron. So overall, I think that this is shaping up to be a complete rat race at the very end, because you got to look at Denver. Denver is the healthiest of all the next four. Lakers are without LeBron. The Grizzlies are without Jaren and others. But also Houston is without Sar Thompson, and Golden State is creeping. Golden State's already in the 6th spot, but they're still 3.5 games behind. And so just overall, the fact that they're holding serve is good. That 3-game win streak definitely helps when you lost. I think it was 4 in a row. And so you end up evening out a little bit. But overall, just wanted to bring everybody up to speed. He says OKC lost Williams tonight. Wow, that would be Jalen Williams, not from Arkansas.
I believe I saw it as a right hip strain. Yeah, because it said All-Star.
Oh yeah, that's right, number 8. Yep, Jalen Williams.
Yep.
Wow. Well, there you go. Everybody's having injuries, and it's the good Jalen Williams, not the Arkansas Dave Rubaugh. I don't know where that came from, but that's how I always used to hear back in the day. But the Jaylin is not the one, not the power forward. He's actually the shooter, the scorer. So that Jalen Williams. So listen, tough all around. Anytime you have an injury, I never want to pile on a guy for having injuries, but everybody, the top 5 are definitely going through them. For sure. And so this is the worst time to be going through them, especially if it is, this late into the season where you could have a hamstring injury that lingers.
We might want to talk about standings a little bit more later, but one thing that's really interesting is depending on how these injuries fall. I mean, the Lakers are without LeBron, which that roster is not built to succeed without LeBron or Luka, right? Like, I mean, obviously not built to really be around those guys. They just saw Luka and got him. So, but they don't have a good enough roster to really do much without LeBron or him for any given time, you think. So that's no telling how many games they drop. Oklahoma City, depending on that hip, if they may or may not have Williams for a little bit in the playoffs, he may not be himself getting this close to the year.
No doubt.
Start to look at the standings and figure out, okay, do you want to try and get up to 2 and risk being 3 and playing a Golden State with Jimmy Butler and all that? Would you wanted to say 4 or 5 and then test your luck with a possibly quote unquote hobbled OKC? I still think you'd rather get 2 and then play whoever's in that 3-6 out of it. But it's just interesting, there's a lot of different things that happen, and it's all about who's healthy and clicking at the right time.
Yep, no doubt. And everybody's going to go through injuries. It's when you go through them, and this is the worst time that you can go through them. And then, yes, Trey Jemison. I feel like he could fill in perfectly from LeBron James. Perfectly.
Maybe. There's a chance. They have the same build.
Yeah, I would. I think somebody just said avoid the Lakers. DCC Nashville says, avoid the Lakers and the Warriors, if at all possible, because a vet team that's been there before, they know how to win. They're going to be a team that, that you want to kind of stay away from, because if not, dude, they could easily just outman you. Like, I know that there are reports showing that the Grizzlies, they're height, but that they're also skinny. They're just not men yet. Like that, they're getting there, but they're not men. And in the playoffs, like you're going to be beat up a little bit more. And so, no matter what, I would like to stay away from the vet teams. No matter how you can, I would like to stay away from them if possible.
I'm just surprised you weren't going to talk about they have to play 5-on-8 if you play the Lakers or the Warriors.
Oh God,
sorry, I thought that's what you were going to get to.
Yeah.
Boo!
Well,
all right, let's get back to the game. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, lead us off.
Good GG Jackson game.
Okay.
Good GG Jackson game. And part of it is it's a bit of a hybrid with what you see on the Grizz X these days, of the people who are like, dude, GG can't play defense. He's unplayable, that whatever. And it's like, not entirely untrue. Like he gets lost on defense all the time. You see it happen. He tries to do too much. He needs to kind of figure it out. But then you got the other side who's like, well, if he just got more minutes, then he would thrive. And it's like, also pretty true. And it's like, tonight is one of those nights where we saw the injury report. I immediately sent out like GG game incoming, because you have to play him. And if you play him, he's going to find his rhythm eventually. Now, however long it takes him to find his rhythm might absolutely crush your soul. But he's going to find it. And then once you see him start to get in that rhythm and figure it out, you just start to see what ends up happening. And just exactly like D'Angelo saying here, he started out, we did it at the same time. Started out shaky, but then he started to figure it out and it came together. And that's what's going to be really, really tough for him. We talk about all the time, like he's just got so much more to offer that it makes it more difficult for him to transition to a truly good team. But you see him put the ball on the deck. He even missed a couple opportunities that you would never expect him to miss tonight as well, both from deep and at the rim. And you see him start to put it together. The individual athletic potential on defense is awesome. He just has to be able to lock in, not get lost. But good game from him tonight. And you need those, because whether it's this year or it's next year, you need him to pull through. And you know that he can. So great to see a game like this for him tonight.
And as Chuck's saying here, is GG's still years away from being able to legally drink. Like, he's still a young kid, and he does have a super high potential. But if I had to give you two players and you had to pick one, GG or Zaire Williams?
GG.
Sorry, Astronomo.
Sorry.
You're not
I feel like GG breaks out of his cage most games. He doesn't feel trapped in his cage. Whereas Zaire had to move to a different city for that. No, seriously, I don't want to hate on Zaire. I'm glad
he's a good guy.
He's doing well, but it's too easy of a target. Also, Astronomo, you're not spelling his name right. I can't bring your comment up until you spell his name correctly. But
that's a rule.
But GG, just the potential is off the charts compared to even Zaire. So.
And speaking of Zaire, like, he came back and was quoted recently, and he said that, like, hey, there was no shot to the Memphis coaching staff or the players or anybody. It had nothing to do with them. He's like, internally, I felt like I just was not being myself. And maybe you can blame the front office on that, or the coaching staff, and say, hey, they just weren't allowing him to be him. But in all honesty, he had the potential and he had the runway the year that everybody was hurt and nobody played. He had the potential to go off and do his thing. And for whatever reason, maybe it was a move that he needed to move to go find himself and kind of find internally what he needed. It is what it is. And so I will never hate on Zaire. I think he's a good kid. And I always have to remind myself that, like, hey, I'm much older than these guys, and that they are realistically kids or young adults. But he's a good kid, a good person. So I hate to ever pile on a guy like that. But he just did not play good basketball here. That's just what it comes down to. So
it's all in good fun. Anyone who's
100%.
been an athlete at any decently high level understands a change of scenery can do a lot for you. Sometimes it's just like you put on a different jersey, you get a fresh start, you lose some baggage. So it makes a lot of sense.
Chuck has a question for you. Do you know who this is? This is Grizz Trivia.
Oh. Yeah, he's on like a two-way, right, with the Sixers or something.
I don't know. He could be
big body Roddy. Probably me. I so thought Roddy was gonna work out. I really did. Sad.
Yeah, and King Meeks gets on me about David Roddy all the time. And you're the David Roddy guy, not as much me.
I'll always have love for David Roddy and Mama Roddy. Great family.
Mama Roddy, awesome.
I want his career to work out so much. He went to like the worst team possible, too. The Suns are such a train wreck. They just shot 52% from three and made 20 of them and still lost to a team that had to start. Jay Huff. Well, I guess that's really the only one that's a lot of people would say bad about. But still, like your two bigs were Jay Huff and Marvin Bagley had for 3 weeks. And anyways, David Roddy, if he gets another shot, he could figure it out. But yeah, that who's was.
I'm with having Celtic Kitchen here. He's like that thick dude.
Listen, man, he's got some girth. There's no doubt about it. You could have said that
girth.
That also would have popped off.
Yeah. So somebody, I think it was Marcus, I believe it was, on Twitter, and he tagged me in one of the posts. It was about girth, and I just lost it. Like that somehow has become like the word of the season. Like sometimes, like you end up getting a random word and it just kind of sticks with you throughout the entire season, or a phrase. And so it's so awesome. So
yeah,
I love it.
We haven't donged enough dudes for dong to be the word, but girth always plays.
No doubt. All right. So Anthony's got a question here. Is what do you think of Pippen and Cam Spencer together?
It'll be awesome in moments, but right now it's just not quite there. Pippen has been awesome. Pippen has been playing great minutes. Like all the frustrating stuff that he does has kind of disappeared as the season has gone on, right? Which has been like what you want to see. That's what you want to see from a guy like him. And he continues to be consistent from deep, which you really need, which makes him and Ja playing together much more palatable, even though they're both small. But Spencer is just one of those things where like he could drain this, but I've also seen him go 0 for 4 from 3 in a game this year, right? It's just one of those things where you're playing a rookie. It's tough, but listen, man, I love psychos. So anytime a psycho's on the floor, I'm willing to give him a chance.
Yeah.
That's all. It took me a second, but I saw what you were laughing at.
I cackled.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anyway.
See, King Migs, you don't understand that it was more Nate than me. I do like David Roddy, but it was more you. But
yeah, man.
Let's move on from that real quick. So if you're looking at the players, and let's stick to the bench because I think you can talk more about the bench tonight, just overall, because Jalen Wells never came back after being knocked out with the forearm, or I'm sorry, the shoulder to the eardrum, which is never a good thing. Another subpar game out of him. Just overall, he didn't shoot well, which is fine. That's going to happen. And Jay Huff, GG, Ja, and Dez. I think we can move on from them a little bit, even though we talked about Ja. I think he played a great game and he's dominated. We talked about Bagley, but Lamar Stevens is a guy that I have said that if the Grizzlies are playing Lamar Stevens, that they really might not be in a really good position as a team, because you're having to rely on a guy that should be your 14th guy, maybe your 15th guy, depending on what you think of John Conchar. But I think you can look at Lamar Stevens in that way. Is Lamar Stevens capable enough to give you something to where he might get you throughout the end of the season, or maybe potentially be a spot on the roster? Spot on the playoff rotation.
I've thought that Stevens should be first off on the roster since last year. He just plays consistently hard-nosed basketball. He plays consistent defense. You can put him on guys like Kevin Durant, and no one's going to stop Kevin Durant. But you can put him on that. You can put him on a 4. You can put him on some 5s, so kind of like Dylan-esque, right? And Austin has it right here. He's our Dylan Brooks, except for he's not going to take 15 shots when he doesn't have it, right? And so he doesn't give you as much offensively, but, I mean, he went 4 for 6 from 3 tonight. He's shown a consistent ability to drive as well. So I think Stevens is the kind of guy that you need to be getting minutes if you want to compete in the playoffs, right? I mean, You're going to go to Wells first. You're going to go to Vince first, but he's a guy that can give you solid wing minutes, can play hard physical basketball, which this team clearly needs. So, and you only hear high praise from him everywhere else he's been too. Right? I mean, it was crazy to me he wasn't on an NBA roster this season, like a full actual NBA roster spot. You know what I mean? I think he was on a two-way for a bit, but he could get playoff minutes for me. I'd be perfectly happy about it.
So question, is it too late in the season for a guy like Lamar Stevens to play his way into the rotation?
No, because he played with his team last year.
Okay. What about potentially moving up into the spot of jumping in front of Wells or Vince?
Not going to happen just based off the politics, if nothing else of it. But I think I kind of like what Art is saying here. You get 15 fouls between those guys. Because the main thing you lose if you don't have Vince or you don't have Wells is who are you going to put on Devin Booker? Who are you going to put on Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, you name them? Like, what are you going to do with that? Stevens is a guy who can go out there and be physical with Shai, except you're not allowed to breathe on the dude. Do you see that foul he got on Westbrook in the last Nuggets game where he jumped 2 feet to the right and they called a foul on Westbrook? Anyways, beside the point. But he's the kind of guy who can out there and play physical playoff defense. And what you hope is a playoff whistle, right? You hope that you're not getting foul merchant success in the playoffs. So, man, he fits. And kind of like D'Angelo was saying here, he fits the Grizz, man. Gritty, physical style of basketball. And this team needs more of that. And so,
so let's stick there.
Probably not, but.
So let's stick there. So in my opinion, I love Jalen Wells and I love Vince. And I think that Vince has taken a step back, whether it's to his own detriment of just not being ready to play. Maybe it's because he's coming off of injury and he's not able to get back to that spot. There's a lot that goes in. So at the point of and I know we have 20 plus games, whatever remaining. What are they? 41 and 24. What is that? 65. And so they have less than 20 games remaining. And so you're looking at not much runway for him left. And so at this point, what is the best version? And the reason I'm going to keep hammering this home because I want to ask, I want to talk through it. That's what I enjoy the most. But talking through this, what is the best version of this team? I love that Jalen Wells is the player that he is. And I love that he has, helped this team. But it just seems like this team needs some kind of an edge. Because tonight, if I was playing, and I know I'm not like everybody else, but when Nick Richards does that, any chance I get to lay out Nick Richards on a play, I'm going to take my opportunity. And I don't think we have that level of craziness, whether that is a little bit of a bad basketball or being a bad person. I'm going to go to the defense of my player, and I'm going to make sure I give a return. I don't think we have anybody on this team that does that. I think Lamar Stevens might be that player that have a little goon in them, like Goon the shooter. Have a little goon in them.
So you're looking for the Grizzlies goon is exactly what I was about to say.
We need a goon because John Morant is literally, it looks like John Morant goes to Tommy Hilfiger now and walks around with his hands in his pocket and lets people shop for him. That's what John Morant looks like. Instead of going and being Ja, he looks like somebody took this traditional guy and put him in Ja's body, and Ja's just this person. I think Ja needs a little bit of crazy, and if he can't get it internally, maybe Lamar can hand him a little bit of his craziness like Cam did tonight.
I don't know how you're going after this game and saying Ja's a dude with his hands in his pockets when he's literally yelling at Kevin Durant entirety of the game.
Because of the help of Cam and because of the help of Lamar Stevens. He needs somebody to rile him up. That's what he needs. He needs a goon to help him. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, Ja, anytime Kevin Durant's in the building, Ja is on 10. That dude is going all out. So you're just incorrect about that. But you do need – I said the same thing to Sarah, my wife, when that happened. I was like, how come nobody's trying to kill this dude? after what he just did. But that's sort of what you would hope Edey would be, type of thing, and he sort of has been in a way. But beside the point, you do need some form of that. I don't think Lamar Stevens is going to be your goon. I do think he is going to be physical for you. Like, he's going to sit there and he's just not going to back down. You need more physicality. He's not crazy. He's not going to give you psycho.
We need some psychos.
That's Vince and that's Cam Spencer. that's who that is. But the best version of this team is Wells not shrinking down from the spotlight and Vince getting to 100% before the playoffs. Vince is clearly not 100%, but he seems to be getting more and more into form coming back from the injury. Same with Gigi, right? I think Gigi is less like the injury is still bothering him, and more so he's just trying to get the rhythm and coming back from an injury. But Vince is still trying to come back from that. But like Stevens is a playoffs kind of guy. Just give you consistent minutes. Tough physical basketball.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that we'll see a big change in rotation when it comes to the playoffs, and that's why I'm saying you have to earn it to the point of like within the season to be able to make that playoff like roster, not in a sense, but the playoff rotation just overall. But Key Mix is asking a question. Is Lamar Stevens on his 10-day? Is this his second 10-day? You can't sign him for another 10-day after this. So it will be the Grizzlies. They're going to have to either contract him out for the rest of the season. But the rumors are, from my understanding, the rumors are that the Grizzlies are going to offer him a contract for the rest of this season with an option, with a team option for next season. What that means is simply we're going to guarantee your contract for the rest of the way of this season, which isn't much time, and then plus the playoffs. And then if you end up playing well and we like everything, we could actually pick it up for the off season. That's a no-brainer for Lamar Stevens. It's a no-brainer for the Grizzlies. And so I would expect that to be the contract that he's offered at the end of this 10-day. And so if anybody has any questions or anything on that, I would assume that that's kind of the direction that they're going to go to for sure.
Yep. And also shout out to, I thought I started, but then it disappeared. There we go. Chicken Unicorn. That's an amazing name. Appreciate you doing that for the rest of the team. It's also just a great name. That makes no sense. Reminds me of a Montucky cold snack. Anyone who knows what a Montucky cold snack is, shout out to you. But love the name. Love you coming in here and supporting the squad. But
yeah.
Back to what you were saying. Sorry.
No, I don't know what I was talking about anymore. But yeah, Chicken Unicorn. You know how I love good names. And so I do love Goon the Shooter's name. I love Volcano the Sweat. There's another OG I saw on Hitter Night I love as well. And then like Skate News. Is that right?
Matt,
yeah, that one. I like that one too as well. So anyway, Chicken Unicorn, as Lauren says, you are the best for sure. But what else you want to talk about? We talked about, we're 45 minutes into the show. I did not plan on a Grizz Trivia tonight, but I do have one. Let's go with a random Grizz Trivia because I do have one. So Nate, you know. Okay. All right, Nate, this is Grizz Trivia. I can't even do that. My voice is going to go out. But Nate, with Grizz Trivia, I do not have any of the cool graphics. I do apologize. But I want to ask you, there's a gentleman on this team. And I don't know if you heard this stat tonight, but when he scores double digits, this team is 13-3 when he scores double digits. Nate, can you give me the name of that player?
J Huff. Boom. Yeah, I paid attention tonight, baby. I was locked in.
I do. Look at everybody. Everybody's the same thing. Everybody's on Huff, except for you, Tiffany Taylor. I do apologize.
I was locked in tonight. I had way too many games where I had to travel. I had family stuff, death in the family. We're all good. But I finally got to actually sit down and watch a game. I took advantage of it. I was locked into the broadcast tonight. Shout out Brevin, by the way.
Yeah, he went through it. He lost his voice and was just kind of going through it. So, yeah, shout out to him for sure. But that was my throw together Grizz trivia. But he's played well, and it made me think: does that stat make you want to play him more?
No. I love Jay Huff, and he is perfect in the right moments. But it has to be the right moments. Like, the reason that they play so well when he's in double digits is because those are the right moments for him to play. That's it. And also, he's got to be the right moments, and he's got to be on. Like, he's got to be the right moments, and he's making his shots. And he's not a traffic cone on defense. And he's able to rim protect, which is the right team to do that, because you don't have to respect their bigs at all. Right? So that's why it fits really well. But, yeah, I mean, if he's going to sit here and shoot 50% from three on a given night, then you could play that guy no matter what they're doing defensively a lot of the time. But typically, no, it's tough. But when it fits, it fits. When it's good, it's good. When it's not good, it's not good.
You're just so fluent in how you speak. It
All
hits me right.
All ball knowers understand. I sound like such a nerd saying that. All ball knowers understand. Where's my blue light glasses? I need to put those on for that.
You need to shake that. Shake that damn.
You need to shake what?
Whatever it's called, your snow globe.
You want me to? Danny wants me to shake stuff. Keeps talking about girth. What a freak.
God.
All right, ball knowers. There you go. Got it. All right.
All right. Let's do a little bit of a look ahead, because I don't want to spend too much time. I do not have a look ahead from Ryan. Ryan was actually supposed to do this show, and then it went to Luke Hatmaker. Shout out to Luke Hatmaker and his guys, Drew and Rusty. Make sure you tune in. I know I see a lot of the same names that are from here. Wayno, King Meeks, Astronomo, Art a lot. If you're up in the morning, 7:30 Central, please do yourself a favor and go check out the Daily Grind. Luke Hatmaker is awesome, as well as Drew and Rusty. Within those three, one of them will be the actual the host of the show, and then depending on who else is available, somebody else will do it. So it's because they go 5 days a week a lot of times. It's 7:30 to about 8:15 is what they do their show. So it helps you get ready in the morning if you're on your way to work or whatever. But please do yourself a favor, tune in the Daily Grind. It's always good. But Luke was supposed to speak. So there's a lot of people that were going to be helping. I'm not going to be here Wednesday night, and then next Monday and Wednesday I won't be here as well for sure. So yes, King Meeks, you're welcome. But let's look at a little bit. Let's look at a little bit of the Jazz coming up. So the Jazz are now on let's see, that's 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games at least, losing streak. They're trying to tank. They have the second worst record in the association on a 6-game losing streak. And I don't think that the Jazz are going to completely tank. But I think they're going to pick and choose when they're going to be playing players, and the Grizzlies haven't played well at all. But you do have Jordan Clarkson, Keontae George, Oscar Sheedway, and Lauri Markkanen, all that are going to be game time decisions. They're all listed as out. Return date is March the 12th. That could be extended and adjusted. Taylor Hendricks is definitely out. So any suggestions on playing the Jazz? It is a home game. It looks like it's Wednesday night. So Wednesday night at 7:00 is the start. So any thoughts of it being potentially a trap game like DCC Nashville saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because you already are like down bigs, which is what they're good with. They actually have talent all around that roster. They just can't put it together for some reason. But they could absolutely crush you on any given night if you don't come to play. Like, they may not try to crush you, but they could. Lauri's really talented. John Collins, I wish to God was a Memphis Grizzly. Colin Sexton, I wish was a Memphis Grizzly. Keontae George is either terrible or awesome, depending on the given night. And then Jordan Clarkson, I think, only plays well against the Grizzlies. So it could be a trap game, but hopefully you get some of your guys back. I don't know if it's a calf strain for Aldama. Who knows on that? But Brandon Clark, you can get back. Edie, you could get back. And then obviously you hope you have Ja and Dez. I would not expect Jaren to be back anytime this week. And if he was going to come back this week, it'd be for Friday. But it could be a trap game for sure. You got to show up to play.
Yeah. So just going over the schedule real quick so everybody's aware. And the reason I say this is because, and yes, all our games are trap games, but the Grizzlies play, their upcoming schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So just looking at that, that's a pretty good little stretch. Like, you have a back-to-back, but you're going to have that double. You're going to have that back-to-back there, but you have one game between most days. And so it's just a point of the season that you're kind of getting to the point of it's a little monotonous, right? It's just over and over and over again. But a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, followed by a Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a lot. And I say that for the simple fact that you're about to go on a West Coast road trip. So you have that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at home. And then you have to hop on so you travel Saturday night, Sunday for a game on the West Coast against the Kings on Monday, Wednesday against the Trailblazers, Friday against the Clippers, Tuesday against the Jazz, Thursday against the Thunder. That 5-game stretch is going to be tough for the simple fact that it is just on the West Coast road trip. And then once you get back from playing the Thunder on Thursday, you get back home and you welcome in a Saturday game, which is going to be great. The Lakers, which could have LeBron back as one of his first games back, if not his first game back, if he gets back in time. So with that being said, like, the schedule isn't getting easier. Like, it's going to be a West Coast road trip after you have these 4 games, but it's just a lot of games and then a day off, game, day off, game, day off. And so there could be games that the Grizzlies look to grab a day off for some of these guys. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun, but it's gonna be a lot of it should be a pretty good struggle for them just kind of going through that schedule.
Well, and if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm looking ahead at my schedule and I'm saying we're going to blitz, including back to the Dallas game. We're going to blitz this stretch up until basically LA against the Clippers. Because you want to, get the bad taste of that losing streak out of your mouth, beat some beatable teams, start getting back into form, which we are seeing with Ja Morant, which looks awesome. Beat the Jazz next game. Like, don't let your foot off the gas. I think you are going to be really paying attention for that because you just had that bad taste in your mouth. You don't want to let up. And then great job, Chicken Unicorn. I appreciate it. Come in on Friday, and then you have a chance to get shout out Titan MVP. Always showing love. Really, seriously, I really appreciate you. You have a chance to get a statement win against the Cavs on Friday that says, hey, we're not that team that just lost 4 in a row, 3 at the buzzer. Like, we're a team that's here to compete, and you're going to have to beat us. Right? So you have a chance to get a statement win on Friday against the Cavs. Heat are very beatable. Kings beatable. Blazers beatable. Then you get into that tough stretch. But you've given yourself a lot of cushion, a lot of good feeling to then go into these games and be a lot more comfortable. Right? You don't feel like you're on your heels against the Thunder, Lakers, Celtics, which are your last 3 games in the month.
You know what I would do? This is me.
Win all the games?
You play to win the game. Sorry, you don't do that.
I knew that was coming.
Titan MVP, man. Shout out to you for real. Always an OG forever. Number 1 here, man. But I do like your thoughts on blitzing that, but I think you do blitz all the way, through you have that Wednesday against Trailblazers, then you have a Friday and a Tuesday. I think that's an okay stretch with the Clippers and the Jazz. I think you rest everyone that breathes the day of the Thunder game and just take an L. The reason I say that is because You play the Jazz on the road on Tuesday. You have Wednesday off. You play the Thunder on Thursday. Then you have Friday off, and then you have the Lakers at home on Saturday. If you were to somehow play just whoever, John Concher and the band, I think you can somehow get away with taking that loss and moving on and just saying, hey, we're going to go back home with an extra day of rest. So that gives you your guys 3 days of rest in a row before another good stretch to end the game, which is 9 games to end the game. So, yes, Jitty and the band, I just came up with it, but I thought it sounded great.
It could be. It is good. That could be the plan. But also, I think if you blitz this schedule, and let's say the only loss you take one loss in between now and the Clippers game, that gives you a chance to breathe going into the Clippers game and then prep to go take care of business in Utah. Please, I'll probably be there. And then you go to Oklahoma City and you kind of get to decide what you're going to do. I doubt they rest everybody for that game just because there's too much pride and ego in it. They want to show up and beat that team. Just like Kevin Durant. Did you see the look on Kevin Durant's face after he missed that shot at the end of the game tonight, by the way? That's a dude who wanted to beat this team. He wanted to beat, I'm sure, Ja, because they never stopped going back and forth during the game. So bad. And the look of just pure dejection on his face was like, last time we saw that, he went to the team that gave him that look, and that was Golden State. So, like, maybe that's a sign of good things to come. But the Grizzlies want to beat that team. So I sort of doubt it. I think they try and go into that Clippers game with only one loss, if that, leading up to it. Yeah. And then that's when they breathe, take care of business in Utah, let the cards fall where they will with the Thunder, and you come home trying to finish the month strong against 2 really good teams. Depending on LeBron plays with the Lakers. Really good.
Yeah, well, overall, I think we have a lot to be excited about. We're out of the valley, which is a good thing. We're kind of going up the mountain a little bit as a fan. We're on the right side of things. The fact that we're talking about we feel good about this team and how they're going to play against these other teams that they should beat, we can shake our own moneymaker, a.k.a. the snow globe. But
the snow globe.
I do believe that I think this is an important stretch for the Grizzlies to kind of get back right a little bit, feel some mojo, feel confident in taking a game off where they rest a bunch of guys, whoever that might be, about just to kind of make sure that maybe that's a game where a starting lineup of Scottie Pippen, John Conchar, Jay Huff, Lamar Stevens, and whoever plays well and just kind of goes off and just plays like crazy, and maybe they steal a win for you in a game where you were able to take off. So there's a lot that could happen just overall, because these other teams, once you get within 10 or less within the season, similar to that Jazz team, they're going to make sure they do not win. They did not play this whole season just get down to the very end of the season and actually randomly win a game when they weren't supposed to. So you're going to get a little help on that as well, as long as your bench, which I think they will, play with enough pride. But that's all I really have tonight, man. I'm glad I was able to get here. I'm glad I was able to, even though I believe I sound terrible on my AirPods or whatever these things are, but I definitely have sounded worse in my life for sure. But anything else you got before we get out of here?
No, man, it's fun watching this team play with the fire and swagger that they seem to have been lacking for most of the season. We all know why it's there right now. So glad to see it. Thanks for coming in tonight. You won't be missed on Wednesday. Just kidding. We'll miss you, buddy.
I will not see y'all Wednesday. I will be traveling for work for sure, and so it'll be a long day. So, as Francis says, God bless it. Here we go. He did not say God bless it, but everybody hit the like button. Break the like button. Yeah, I've heard, actually, I don't know if you know this, the like button, if you hit it twice, it doesn't work. So you can only hit it one time. So if you've hit it twice, go back and hit it one time. I think that's how. I'm not exactly sure, but go look for it. It's on the other page. You might better find it. But until the next time. That's all we got. We'll see you all. I guess Nate will be steering the ship next time. Be nice and tell your friends.